Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. I'm ELD. It is time to strap in for a wild ride as we've got Gyruda Bomberman versus 8-Cast. This is going to be an absolute slugfest. Chalice at 0 coming out, which gets Force of Willed by 8-Cast. Gyruda Bomberman, kind of the predecessor to. Is that the right word? Did I say that backwards? It was the precursor to 8-Cast. And 8-Cast shares a lot of DNA with it. Chalice, and of course the artifact suite, cantrips costing 0 mana. But 8-Cast gets to run Force of Will, and as we see there, that stops Chalice at 0, which would have been a devastating card. Now, usually Chalice is going to be played at 1, but if you do know your opponent's on 8-Cast or Bomberman or Storm, a variety of different decks in the format that really abuse these inexpensive baubles, then Chalice at 0 is even more devastating. Force of Will really is an incredible inclusion for a deck that's able to support so much explosive play and card drawing. Cathar Commander popped in there, took out Urza's Saga, which could certainly run away with this match. I mean, constructs can get very, very large in 8-Cast. Not unusual for them to reach the double digits. So many inexpensive artifacts available. Salvage is a very dangerous card here, and this is going to be able to bring back artifacts from the graveyard. Walking Ballista coming down at 1, actually turning on this Mox Opal. Ballista also a win condition if Lion's Eye Diamond should show up, which Karn attempts to be able to find. That would have actually won the game on the spot. Karn, a Wish toolbox, as well as a piece of disruption in this matchup, shutting off all of the artifacts. Certainly Force of Will worthy. Being able to grab Lion's Eye Diamond would have just won the game, as Salvagers would recur LED infinitely, and then Walking Ballista would be the mana sink. You could also use Lodestone Bauble to win. Pick your poison. Constructs. Pick up Shadow Spear and turn sideways. Then he locks it on Warhammer. A powerful printing. All of the Urza's Saga decks are generally very happy to have access to it, adding quite a bit of punch. And there we go. That's actually it. Karn shows up a second time, and Lion's Eye Diamond allows for infinite mana thanks to Salvagers. You're on to the next one just like that. The Lion's Eye Diamond also would have done it. There were a lot of ways that could have ended in a hurry. Out of Force of Wills, able to stop 2 game-winning plays, but Bomberman just kept throwing stuff, and that's really something that Bomberman's quite good at. If things stall out, the ability to add Gyruda to your hand and cast him is so dangerous. Essentially just winning the game on the spot, milling a Lion's Eye Diamond, getting a Salvager's back. Of course, once you have infinite mana, even if you don't have a payoff, you always have access to Gyruda, who can quickly become a payoff, either getting a Walking Ballista or milling cards that you can turn with your Salvagers. So this is certainly put together. I would not call it obsoleted at all. 8-Cast, very dangerous, a different deck. But I would not say one is strictly better than the other. We'll have the play here. Do love that mat. Every time I see it, Ben won that in one of our ELD Vintage Opens. Love to see it. I did the full tribute to the Power 9. Played in that event. Suggested me walk away with that playmat. Emery sets up a legit draw engine. We got Bauble already in the bin. Ben has explosive start as well. Emery's just very reminiscent of Sylvan Library. Really better. Like, the effect is probably just better. Milling gives you additional resources up front. ability to either draw cards or recur a major threat like a Thought Monitor or Kappa Cannoneer. He's just so strong and usually costs 1 blue. Affinity, very impressive. Our Commando, pretty fearless here, swinging in. Walking Ballista goes up with 2 counters, and that's going to take out the Emery. Only 1 mana left. Would have been really nice to be able to blow up this Seat of the Synod, but no, Matt's got Opal and another Emery. Walking Ballista served as removal, also an eventual win condition. This could actually be it right here. Oh, he's got the Force of Will. Wow, Salvagers would have just straight up ended it there. Matt is on notice. Another Salvagers will literally just end the game if it's not countered. Where you want to see Cavern of Souls. And a Hull Breacher. Spicy. Gonna shut off all of these baubles. Oh, it's much worse than that. He's got Echo of Aeons in the bin. So this is going to be absolutely devastating. Pretty similar to just winning the game. Echo, essentially a time twister here. Slightly better as you're playing it from your graveyard instead of it being in your hand. Middle toward it with your Emerys, and Matt is just in really good shape here. A ton of treasures. Then no hand. Really the way that old vintage decks used to play. Old vintage decks used to look to generate a bunch of card advantage and then mind twist your opponent. Another card that really, I don't see any reason for that to be banned in Legacy. I don't even think it would be good in Legacy. I'd be shocked if it's better than the existing plays available to us in this format. Yeah, Ben just going to go ahead and scoop it up and try and leave enough time to win game 3. I figure Mana Drain and Mind Twist, I feel like, should come off of the list. It would feel very much like the final step in Legacy, taking the spot from where Vintage used to be incredibly popular. So this time, Ben will have the play. Does make a big difference in this matchup. Similar to the old days of Vintage, Chalice coming out first is devastating, and he actually has it along with a Leyline of the Void. That is a hateful opening. Getting murked by Echo of Aeons and brought in Leyline, and he has Genius Smith, Hull Breacher Echo combo. Just brutal. That's not going to be playing with a graveyard. I mean, he could possibly find Otawara, I believe the new blue land is from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Ingenious Smith just putting in the reps, getting bigger turn after turn. Goes up, he digs. From here on out, each turn, expect him to grow. And Karn, wow. Chalice at 0 is brutal. Now Karn gonna stop just all of the artifacts. This is brutal. This is maybe over. Karn's gonna be able to go find artifacts out of the sideboard. I would have expected Liquid Metal Coating here to go after Ancient Tomb. Walking Ballistas, I mean, it can kill Emery, but Emery's not really useful with Leyline on board. Ooh, a Karn of his own. Interested to see what Ben's thoughts are. This match. I mean, I feel like blowing up that Ancient Tomb probably would have just ended this match. Instead, now Matt has a Karn of his own. Constructs could possibly get back into the game. With Alice at 1. 3 steps in front of the ingenious Smith. Walking Ballista can't throw counters because of the Karn. Now constructs are unlocked, and Karn ticks up, getting rid of Chalice at 0. That's going to allow Matt to just vomit out his hand. Look at this. 4 artifacts, Thoughtcast, 5 artifacts, another LED, and now constructs can be made. What a huge swing. I don't know if Ben had access to liquid metal coating. If he didn't, certainly a consideration after seeing this match. Those of us watching, considering the best way to build a Karn sideboard. Mycosynth Lattice is neat and all, just kind of locking the entire game out, but can't always access that 6 mana, and you're not always ahead. Sometimes liquid metal coating is the card that will just stop your opponent from being able to make any meaningful progress. Multiple constructs now, each of them, of course, making each other larger, counting all the artifacts, and another Thoughtcast just continuing to dig. Where's his Saga just putting in work, pumping out constructs, grabbing a Shadow Spear at the end, making those constructs larger. Now this Karn on Ben's side is going to stop the Shadow Spear from being particularly useful, as it won't be able to equip. Send very large construct at Karn. Walking Ballista steps in front of it. Karn takes out an artifact land with his plus ability. Artifact lands line up quite poorly with opposing Karns. Don't even need the liquid metal coating. And now an ensnaring bridge. So things have just come to a screeching halt. Ben, not many cards in hand. Matt essentially needs to find Otawara, a bounce spell. Now just try to keep pace with the board presence. Hope that your own Karn doesn't get handled. Continue to tick up. Alice at 0. That is going to stop Matt from continuing to dump 0 casting cost artifacts on board. As this goes back and forth, Karn can blow up both of these petals, both of the LEDs. Oh, never mind. Of course, the Chalice doesn't stick around at all. Karn just turns it into an artifact. Scratch that thought. Opposing Karns do, however, have the ability to just continually blow up opposing permanents. They stop most of those permanents from doing their design tasks. Matt on 3 mana, Ben on 4. For as long as these Karns stick around. See that Matt has Force of Negation as well. The deck gets to support Force of Will and Force of Negation. Emery, ooh, did that actually hit an Otawara? Might have. I don't know how many he's running. Probably just 1. I have seen people running Expedition Map to go tutor it up. Something that Urza's Saga can set off a long chain of tutors. Saga getting Map, Map getting Otawara, Otawara answering the opposing permanents, and then victory. It's a long way to go, but not a very high cost in terms of deck building. Play another blue source in your deck. Problem that it's not a basic land, so it is vulnerable to things like Wasteland, but you're not typically looking to play the land. So you're happy to when it comes to that. Can't really be said about many other versatile removal spells that, on top of it all, it can also just be a mana source in a pinch. These constructs getting weaker and weaker each turn. That Karn eliminates one of these artifacts from Matt's board. Another Ingenious Smith. And as this back and forth has happened, you now see Ingenious Smith outclassing these constructs. Usually it's very much the other way around. But Ensnaring Bridge has brought just a tremendous amount of time. Now these constructs down to 3/3s. Karn at 11. I guess Karn at 9. Genius Smith at 11 power. Synod. Salvager's just the body. Not going to be able to go infinite as long as this Karn's around, but Karn may be able to get cleared. Try equipping. Okay. Work. Another Ingenious Smith. And Salvagers can, of course, return any of these destroyed artifacts. Probably just go get a Chalice and play it. Stop Matt from adding to his board presence. At least direct Karn in that direction. Multiple permanents per turn with extra white mana. Now he looks like he just has the Caracas. I think the Cavern of Souls are those other expedition lands, so those would not be able to. Oof. It's a big oof. Cathar Commando. Looks like everything at Karn. So Cathar Commando taking out Ben's own Ensnaring Bridge. That looks like he's going to be blocking. Karn probably going away. If it does, I don't know if there's an LED in the bin. There is an LED in the bin, then this game may be over. Actually, kind of an issue. Force of Negation does exile the LED. Let's see how this plays out. Karn's been cleared. Single construct is on board. Just a 2/2. Saga makes the Shadow Spear a 1/1 and attacks. And there's the, I believe that was a concession. I don't think Ben was at 3. Just took lethal. I believe that was just a concession from Matt. Let me know if I missed damage. Life totals are off screen. But what an absolute back and forth war between two really interesting decks outside the norm.